Hey, tenor sax players, this is your video sectional for your initial playing assessment, which this year comes from Joy to the Season. We're going to go through a couple things to help you work through this. It's not a super difficult assessment, but we want to also kind of practice some skills and techniques for when we look at new music. So some of the first things to do here is always check your key signature. So you notice here we have F sharp. I don't see any F sharps that you have to worry about, but still always good to scan through that and then look for any of those pitches. Okay. You also want to check your time signature, 3/4, right? No big deal here. Probably played in 3/4 a million times. The next thing to check and look through your rhythms. And again, pretty straightforward rhythms here. Some 8s and 16s. We do have a tied rhythm here that we want to be really careful with as we're practicing this and making sure that we're releasing that tie at the right time. So our 16s come up on the and of 3, nice and clean. Okay. The next thing you want to take a look at are things like pitches and accidentals. And if you scan through here quickly with me, you'll see there really aren't any accidentals to worry about. When you're looking at pitches, always look for places where you have skips. Okay. Like here, C to G, I think is probably your biggest skip. Not a big deal, but your eyes don't track them as quickly as when you have notes that are side by side or stepwise in a piece of music. Some other things to look at, since we don't have too much on the technical side of things in this piece, definitely your articulations. And you see we've got a couple, mainly accents kind of throughout the piece here, but we also have some staccato to be careful with, and obviously some big parts that are slurs. We want to make sure that we're very clean with our articulations, not just good strong accents, but also rearticulation, tonguing where we need to, when one slur ends and another note begins, or when one slur ends and another slur begins. This section here in the middle here that I'll just highlight again is probably the one to be the most careful with there. Always look for repetition. You get a little bit of repetition here when you're practicing. You know, if you practice some of that stuff, you can look down and say, hey, I've also practiced this stuff as well. I think the other big thing to do is make sure you are counting your rests correctly. I would like you to count your rests, and you do have some big chunks here where we don't have a lot of notes. We have some rests in between them. So you want to make sure that you're counting that, so that way I know that you are thinking through and playing through everything and not just, going from one chunk to the next note-wise. So what I'm going to do here for you folks is play this at a couple different tempos so you hear it, and you can hear it along with your, with your part. If you want to play along, great. If you just want to kind of follow along in your music, jot down some notes, also great. So here we go. Let's make sure our volume is up. And let's go back and do that at 96. And we'll do it at 108 yet. So I hope this was helpful. Not too much going on here, but a couple tricky things to look at. If you have any questions before you submit, please don't hesitate to find me, send me an email, send me a Schoology message, and I will do my best to help you out. Otherwise, happy practicing.